Okay, so you've built some muscle, but now you're at the point where that muscle growth has slowed down and maybe it's just come to a halt. You're not building any more muscle. You've hit a muscle building plateau. This video is going to go over 5 reasons you've hit that muscle building plateau and how to fix them. Number 1, you lack consistency. This may seem like an obvious one, but it's actually really common. So what people will do is, you might have done this yourself, set yourself up for failure from the get-go by actually starting a plan that doesn't fit with your life. Starting a plan maybe that means you have to be in the gym 6 to 7 times a week, and you can only do that for 3 to 4 weeks. So then what happens is after that, you take a break, probably of the equal length, probably about 3 to 4 weeks, and then you're not exactly back to square one, but you're not progressing in the way you need to. You're not progressively overloading. What's a better solution is actually to pick a routine or find a plan that fits with your routine, your consistent routine, something you can consistently do to get the results you want, to continue to build muscle. So if you can only train 3 to, let's say 4 times a week, that's completely fine. Pick a routine that matches that. If you can train 3 times a week, pick a routine that matches that and stick with that long enough to see results. The consistent efforts are what are basically going to get you the results, all your results, because you see these people all the time that do it for 6 to 7 weeks, have maybe 6 to 8 weeks even. They'll go 6 to 7 times a week, and what they'll do is they'll have like a month off, for example. You're way better training 3 to 4 times a week, just consistently. That is going to give you the results you want, help you build more muscle. So if you're training 3 times a week, I suggest a full body. If you're training 4 times a week, I suggest either an upper-lower split or a push-pull legs. If you're training 5 to 6 times a week, you can still do a push-pull legs split. I actually recommend doing a push-pull leg split that works well for 5 to 6 days a week as well. So remember, don't fit yourself even to a plan. Get a plan that fits you. Reason number 2, your nutrition does not fit your goal. To build muscle, you need energy. You need energy to get through the workouts. You need energy to supply the muscle to grow. That doesn't mean you have to be in a crazy surplus and eat everything in your sight. That just means you need enough energy. And that usually looks like at least maintenance if you've got excess body fat. So that's at least maintenance calories or a slight surplus. Around 300 calories above your maintenance level, so 300 calories in a surplus is usually enough to see results. That's if you're lean to begin with. And what you can do there is consistently weigh yourself. Let's say around 0.5 pounds a week, then you're on the right track. If you're gaining more like a pound a week, it's likely you're gaining quite a bit of body fat with that. So just pay attention to that. You want to be aiming, if you're building muscle, especially if you're starting out, you want to be aiming to gain, I would say, between 1 to 3 pounds a month. It depends on your genetics and depends the effort you're giving to it. But just pay attention to that in terms of your nutrition, because if you're gaining much more than that, just pull your calories down by say 100, and maybe you're only 200 calories in a surplus, and then continue like that for a few weeks, see how your body responds, and then adjust it accordingly. And then second to that is obviously getting enough calories. Then you need to make sure you're getting enough protein. If you're not getting enough protein, you're not going to build muscle. Most of my clients, most of their nutrition plans, when I looked over them, their food diaries, they were not consuming enough protein, like a lot less than they should be. So what I suggest doing is mapping out where you are currently. So track that, make a rough, I would say track it, at least know how much you're starting with now, and then slowly introduce more protein. You want to be getting to the 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight per day. And if you've got a lot of weight to lose, a lot of fat to lose, then I'd suggest doing 1 gram per pound of your goal body weight. That should be enough protein. Reason number 3, your training volume needs adjusting. So that's the total number of sets you're doing per session per week. I'd say let's look at per week scale, because we can talk about the per session maybe in another video, because it's just a bit more intricate. But anyway, per week, you need to be making sure you're getting between 8 to 18 hard sets. By hard sets, I mean working sets per muscle group per week. That seems to be the sweet spot where most people build the most amount of muscle. There will be some people like genetic freaks who'll be able to do more and some people that need to do less. Beginners can actually get results. So if you're just starting out, you can get results with even less than 8. If that's kind of how you want to start really slowly, you can do less than 8, but that's the general range for most people. And you want to pay attention to how your body responds, how your body adapts. So what I mean by that is, if you're sore all the time, it's likely you're doing too much and you need to pull that back. And if you're never ever even slightly sore or tender, it means you'll likely be able to tolerate more. You'll get some body parts which can tolerate much more than others. And the way you judge that is if, let's say you're 4 weeks into working out, because you're going to get way more sore to begin with, and then you're doing, I don't know, 10 working sets per week for your chest, and you figure out your chest is never getting tender, then as long as your form is correct, then what you can do is you can just adjust, basically. Make sure you can introduce more volume. You can then do that really slowly, so introduce maybe 2 more working sets a week, see how your body responds, and then adjust it accordingly. Reason number 4, you've been doing the same number of reps all the time. So maybe you've just done 10 reps per muscle group, like for like 6 to 12 months, maybe beyond that, maybe for 2 years, maybe for 3 years, maybe even beyond that. So what you need to do now is you need to change your rep range. Don't get me wrong, the most effective, well, the most used muscle building rep range is between 8 and 12 reps. But you can build muscle all the way from 4 reps up to 30 reps, even less than 4 and even a bit more than 30 as well. Some studies have actually found that if you change up the rep range, use something called daily undulating periodization, basically you can benefit from more muscle growth. And what does that mean? That just means changing up the reps. So say you do chest twice a week. One chest session could be between the 6 to 10 rep range, and the other session could be between the, I don't know, 10 to 15 rep range. Or you could do what I do, take specific exercises and change those up and just make sure they have different rep ranges. So I use compounds between 6 to 10, say a flat bench press, and you could take a more isolated move like a cable crossover and go between 10 to 15 reps. And then on, say, like your biceps and triceps, go on a higher rep range, but you can switch it up if you've been doing that already. For example, just even the bench press, you could go for 10 to 15 reps as well for like a one day, and then do 6 to 10 for another day if you're doing the bench press on 2 separate days. The 5th and final reason you're not building muscle is you lack quality with your training. Your effort's low. You go into the gym, you do the sets, you go through the motions, but you're not feeling it on a target muscle group. You're doing a bench press, but you're not feeling it on the chest, and you're not adjusting your technique, adjusting your form to feel it more. So what you want to do here is you want to maybe take a video of yourself or get someone to watch over or record you, and then just go over it, send it to someone like me, send it to someone that knows a bit more, maybe ask a personal trainer in the gym to look over your form, make adjustments, make sure you're feeling it in a target muscle group. And then, like, to say similar thing to do with quality, make sure you're taking those sets close enough to failure. You don't want to be going to a complete muscular failure where you can't do any more reps, but you want to be going between 1 to 3 reps shy of muscular failure. That means when you stop the set, you want to have between 1 to 3 reps left. Occasionally going to failure is fine, but what happens is if you're constantly always going to failure, your form's going to be compromised, because your muscles are going to be sore all the time, and your strength is going to be compromised because your muscles are going to be sore, you're not under recover, and you're going to build less muscle, and maybe even over time, because of the lack of progression, you're going to lose muscle. I mean, you might even regress. So that's also a point. It's kind of tied into quality and more intensity, but I'm just putting it in the same bracket just to give you an extra one, basically. So if you follow those and fix all of those, then you're going to be building more muscle. And if you want to build even more muscle and lose fat, head on over to my Facebook group, join my free Facebook group. And obviously, if you want to build even more muscle, click that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit those bell notifications to be alerted as soon as I post a video. And until the next video, keep pushing those limits.